After rebirth, the very first thing I did was burn through tens of millions in cash, dragging my best friend and the campus beauty into a tattoo parlor. My buddy got Neza carved onto his left arm, and Erlang Shin blazing across his right. The campus beauty chose the 9 heavens mystic lady. Me? I put Pangu splitting heaven across my chest, and 9 dragons pulling the coffin across my back. Donghuang Tai on my left leg, and the Monkey King on my right. I even mortgaged 300 million in cash to buy an abandoned air raid shelter buried deep in the mountains. Everyone laughed and called me a reckless heir, but none of them knew the truth. In 20 days, the apocalypse would begin. Every plant and animal on Earth would mutate. Gentle pets would become bloodthirsty monsters. Roadside plants would turn into living meat grinders. Humanity would fall from the top of the food chain straight to the bottom. Only people with those tattoos could awaken the supernatural power of their totems. There were exactly 20 days left until the red moon. Without a moment's hesitation, I called my private lawyer immediately. Lawyer Zhang immediately mortgaged the 1 billion worth of shares in my name, the real estate and the luxury cars. Mortgage everything to the International Underground Bank. Yes, all of it. I only want cash, even if it's at a 30% fire sale price. Within 24 hours, I want to see 300 million in cash in my account. After hanging up the phone, I quickly dialed 2 more numbers. Half an hour later, at Jiangzhou's most secretive underground shop, Ghost Axe Tattoos, my best friend, Su Xiaodao, and Jiang Xini, the renowned ice-cold beauty of Jiangzhou University, were dragged here by me, looking completely bewildered. Brother Lie, are you crazy? You mortgaged your entire family fortune just to take us to get tattoos? Qin Lie, what on earth are you doing? If this is because that woman Zhao Yuqing broke up with you, and you're acting out, there's no need to degrade yourself like this. I looked at them, my voice more serious than ever before. Xini, Xiaodao, there's no time to explain. If you still trust me, then just do as I say today. Seeing the look in my eyes, so stern it was almost foreign, the two of them finally gritted their teeth and nodded in agreement. I turned to the burly old master in the tattoo parlor and slammed a bank card with 1 million on the table. Master, I got a big job for you. I pointed to Su Xiaodao, Neza on my buddy's left arm, and Erlang Shin on the right. Then I looked at Jiang Xini and requested the 9 heavens mystic lady across her entire back. Jiang Xini froze, a flicker of complexity crossing her cold eyes. Qin Lie, since when did I agree to let you decide for me? I looked at her, my voice dropping an octave. I won't let you die again. Jiang Xini's pupils contracted slightly. She didn't understand what I meant. But I remember, in my previous life, Jiang Xini, in order to save me, was dragged into a nest by a mutant spider queen. By the time I found her, all that remained was half of a blood-stained uniform. In this life, I will protect her at all costs. Master Ghost Axe's eyelid twitched. He took the bank card. Easy enough. And what about you? I took off my shirt, revealing my lean, muscular torso, and spoke slowly and clearly. Me. I want Pangu splitting heaven on my chest, 9 dragons pulling the coffin on my back, Donghuang Tai on my left leg, and the Monkey King on my right. Clatter. The tattoo machine slipped from the master's hand. He looked at me as if I were a madman. Do you have a death wish? Pangu splitting heaven is already a forbidden fate, and you still want 9 dragons pulling the coffin? That thing isn't a normal mythical totem. It's a forbidden cursed mark that buries all living souls. I let out a cold laugh. More money. 1 million isn't enough. I'll give you 10 million. I want you to handle the needle personally. Let others assist you. It must be finished within 7 days. The master's expression shifted. 7 days? You're insane. A piece this large. It's impossible in 7 days. I pull a list from my coat and toss it on the table. Military-grade rapid healing gel, bionic repair patches, imported analgesics, anti-infection medication. I prepared it all. Just do the tattoo. I'll tough it out. The old master stares at me intently, silent for a full 30 seconds. Finally, he leans over to pick up the tattoo machine, his voice raspy. Fine. I've been tattooing my whole life, but I've never seen anyone as crazy as you. Guifu will take this job. 3 days later, deep in the mountains on the outskirts of Jiangzhou City, an abandoned underground base codenamed Blackstone. On the surface, it was once a Cold War-era air raid shelter, later converted into a maximum security prison. But I know its true identity, a sealed underground command center from the old era. The main structure, energy wells, ventilation ducts, and water storage systems, they're all still there. I'm not paying to build from scratch, but to restore, to reboot and reinforce, bulletproof, shellproof, and complete the weapon systems. During these 3 days, I only visited the Blackstone base once to sign the contract, inspect the structure, and confirm the energy wells and ventilation were intact. Everything else, I left to the lawyers and the construction team. After all, the time-consuming part isn't buying the base, but these 4 forbidden totems on my body. Are you sure you want to spend 30 million to buy this godforsaken wasteland? The realtor wipes cold sweat from his forehead, looking at me, Jiangzhou's notorious spendthrift. Not only do I want to buy it, I want to remodel it. With a flourish of my pen, I sign the contract. Now, get me the best security construction team in the country. Within 10 days, I want this place turned into a doomsday fortress where not even a fly can enter. 5-meter-high military-grade titanium alloy walls,
multi-tous en ton blast d'ors,
a top-tier ecological recycling system, and that sealed energy core underground, all restored and rebooted. I bring out 100 million in cash and dump it all in within 10 days. Money is no object. I'll pay triple wages to work 24/7, around the clock. As my orders were issued one by one, the entire construction industry of Jiangzhou was shaken. Right now, shirtless, I'm sitting in the deepest private room of the Guifu underground tattoo parlor. Dim yellow light hits the walls, which are covered in various eerie totem sketches. The air is thick with the smell of disinfectant, mixed with tattoo ink. Master Guifu handles the needle himself, while 3 apprentices assist him, mixing colors, tracing lines, and wiping the wounds. The 9 dragons pulling the coffin on my back. The outline of the first black dragon is complete. Even without the eyes filled in, there's already an indescribable sense of oppression. Su Xiaodao sits beside me, the neza on his left arm already taking shape, grimacing in pain. Zhang Xini is in the private room next door, where a female artist continues the details of the 9 Heavens mysterious maiden. My phone lies beside me, with messages from lawyers, realtors, construction teams, and suppliers popping up constantly. While enduring the searing pain of the needle piercing my skin, I issue remote commands. The renovation of the Blackstone base is progressing in sync. The tattoos and the Doomsday Fortress, neither can be delayed. I swipe open my phone, and a notification pops up. Shocking. Heir to a wealthy family, Qin Lie, sells all assets to buy an abandoned prison in the deep mountains. I open the streaming app and enter the top trending local live stream. It's none other than my arch-rival, Su Rue, the son of Jiangzhou's richest man. In the video, Su Rue is sitting in a luxury villa downtown, swirling a glass of red wine, laughing hysterically. Ha ha ha. What's gotten into Qin Lie? Did he finally snap or something? Young Master Su. Luckily, I saw through his madness long ago, and dumped him before it was too late to come to you. I heard he even dragged that haughty Zhang Xini to get a full body of gangster tattoos. It's absolutely hilarious. As the camera shakes, a glimpse of a newly tattooed red flower appears on Zhao Yuqing's waist, seductively vivid like blood. I glanced at it, my gaze turned cold. Equinox flower. In my previous life, Zhao Yuqing didn't have this tattoo. It seems in this life to please Su Rue. She's put in quite a lot of effort. Su Rue shouted excitedly into the camera. Everyone, can you believe this? Not only did Qin Lie throw money into some hole in the mountains, I heard he spent over 100 million, ordering pork and rice from every supermarket, planning to spend the rest of his life in there. Ha ha ha. The live stream chat exploded instantly. Holy shit, my poverty is limiting my imagination. Are rich people's mental states always this advanced? Zhang Xini is the goddess in our hearts, and she's actually following him to live in a bomb shelter? Verdict is in. Qin Lie has definitely lost his mind. Suggests sending him straight to a mental asylum. Seeing the overwhelming mockery and abuse online, Su Xiaodao trembled with rage. Brother Lie. That bastard Su Rue is manipulating the crowd to cyberbully you. I'm going to settle the score with him. Ignore him. I felt the pain of the needle piercing my skin. Looking at Su Rue's arrogant face on the screen, my eyes remained calm. The higher he jumps now, the harder he'll cry later. Shout out. Keep an eye on the supply convoy. Our Doomsday Fortress cannot have a single mistake. Since my rebirth, exactly 7 days have passed. During these 7 days, I have hardly left this underground private room. Master Guifu and his 3 apprentices took turns, outlining by day, coloring by night, refining the tattoos at dawn, to speed up the process. I even had people buy from the black market, military-grade rapid healing gel and bionic repair patches. Every time a totem was completed, I immediately sealed the wound with the healing gel. Otherwise, with this intensity, my skin would have given out long ago. Late night of the 7th day. In the deepest room of Guifu's studio, the sound of the tattoo machine finally stopped. Su Xiaodao's Neza and Erlangshan were completed 2 days ago. Zhang Xini's 9 Heavens Mystic Lady also had its final stroke yesterday, and on my body, the 4 forbidden totems were finally all complete. Pangu splitting heaven on my chest, 9 dragons pulling the coffin on my back, Donghuang Tai on my left leg, Monkey King on my right leg. Master Guifu took off his gloves. Looking at the patterns on my body, he let out a long sigh. It's done. Young Master Qin, I've been tattooing my whole life, but I've never taken on a job this massive. Pangu splitting heaven, 9 dragons pulling the coffin, Donghuang Tai, Monkey King. not to mention anything else. This set of tattoos alone, in the entire tattooing circle of Jiangzhou, no one would dare claim they're better than me, Guifu. I sat up from the tattoo chair. In the mirror, the 4 forbidden totems covered my chest, my back and both legs. Every line was sharp, ancient, and heavy, especially the 9 dragons pulling the coffin on my back. 9 black dragons spiraled up from both sides of my spine, dragon scales layered upon each other. 9 dragon tails converged at the center of my back, firmly dragging an ancient black coffin. Crimson chains entwined around the black coffin. It was clearly just a tattoo, yet it gave off an indescribable sense of oppression. Su Xiaodao circled around me, couldn't help but swallow hard. Brother Lie, this is too brutal. If I hadn't seen it being tattooed with my own eyes, I'd suspect this thing would move on its own at night. I put on my clothes, hiding the totems on my body. Right now, they are just tattoos. But when the red moon descends, that's when they will truly awaken. Su Xiaodao was stunned. Red moon? I didn't explain immediately, just checked the time on my phone. 12 days until the red moon descends. Let's go. To the Blackstone base. Time to inspect our Doomsday fortress. 2 hours later, we reached the deep mountains of the Jiangzhou outskirts. The underground base, codenamed Blackstone, was partially renovated. Underground ventilation system, energy core, ecological circulation system, all fully restarted. Over the next 12 days, I barely slept. By day, I personally oversaw the final touches on the base. By night, I used the origin power of rebirth to suppress the backlash of the 4 forbidden totems. Truckload after truckload of supplies streamed into the base. Rice, flour, chilled meat, canned food, drinking water, medical supplies, diesel, plus heavy-duty off-road vehicles, backup generators, military-grade protective suits, every survival resource available for purchase. I bought them all out. Everyone thought I had gone mad. Only I knew. Time for the civilized world was running out. The day before the red moon's descent, the final batch of supplies entered Blackstone base. In the warehouse, rice, flour, drinking water, canned food, chilled meat, medicine, diesel, backup generators, military-grade protective suits, piled up like mountains, 3 stories high. The underground warehouse was packed to the brim. Su Xiaodao stood at the warehouse entrance, staring blankly. Brother Lie, are you planning to live in here for the rest of your life? Jiang Xini also looked on in silence. She knew I had stockpiled massive resources, but seeing this underground vault filled with supplies, she couldn't help but frown. What exactly are you preparing for? I didn't answer immediately. I simply walked to the center of the warehouse, slowly raising my right hand. The next second, with a single thought, 3 stories high, thousands of tons of supplies vanished into thin air. The once packed underground warehouse became completely empty in a split second, leaving only indentations on the floor from the weight and the lingering scent of diesel and grain in the air. Su Xiaodao froze on the spot. He blinked, rubbed his eyes, then rushed into the center of the warehouse, circling the empty floor 3 times. Holy shit, he whipped around to look at me, his voice cracking. Brother Lie, where's the stuff? Where's the entire warehouse of stuff? I just blinked once, and thousands of tons of supplies are gone. There's no secret tunnel here. Are you doing magic? Jiang Xini's reaction wasn't as wild as Su Xiaodao's, but her usually cold and calm eyes had clearly lost their composure. She slowly walked up to me, staring at my right hand. Brother Lie, what on earth is going on? I remained silent for a moment. At this point, there was no longer any need to hide it. Less than 24 hours until the red moon descends. They had to know the truth. I spoke slowly. This is a companion space. It's related to some special changes in my body. Regarding the rebirth, I still didn't reveal everything. Not because I didn't trust them, but because saying too much now would only increase their psychological burden. I continued, all you need to know is that this space can store massive amounts of supplies, and time inside is almost frozen. Food won't rot. Medicine won't expire. Diesel, weapons, and crystal cores can all be preserved long-term. Su Xiaodao's jaw dropped. So you bought all that stuff, not to pile it in the warehouse, but to carry it with you? Correct. Brother Lie, what else have you been hiding from us? Tomorrow night, the red moon descends. Red moon. Tomorrow night at midnight, the moon in the sky will turn blood red. Then, a black mist will surge from the earth, sweeping across the globe. All animals and plants will undergo violent mutations. Cats and dogs will become man-eating monsters. Plants will devour the living. Cities will descend into chaos within hours. Human civilization will collapse overnight. Deathly silence filled the warehouse. Su Xiaodao's lips trembled. This time he didn't make a joke immediately, because the sight of thousands of tons of supplies vanishing into thin air had completely shattered his understanding of reality. Jiang Xini didn't argue either. She just stared intently at me. Where's the proof? What you just saw is one piece of evidence. and the tattoos on your bodies. Jiang Xini subconsciously looked at her own back. I continued, the red moon's energy will activate human tattoos, turning them into true totem avatars. Ordinary patterns only awaken basic physical enhancements. Ferocious beast patterns can awaken beast transformation abilities. Mythological totems can awaken true avatars. The older the totem, the more complete it is, the stronger the destiny it carries, the more terrifying the power after awakening. So you had me tattoo Neza and Erlangshin to make sure I survive. Your Neza and the true Lord Erlangshin are top-tier mythological totems. As long as you can endure the Red Moon awakening, you will be stronger than the vast majority of awakeners. Then I looked at Jiang Xini. Xini, your Nine Heavens Mystic Lady is a high-level avatar combining offense and defense, purification, and battlefield coordination. In the apocalypse, toxins, pollution, and spirit-eroding monsters will become more common. Your totem is crucial. So you sold off your assets, bought the Blackstone base, stockpiled supplies, and took us to get tattoos. None of it was on a whim. You knew something big was going to happen. Yes. The shock on Jiang Xini's face slowly faded, replaced by tension. Su Xiaodao's gaze shifted instantly. Wait, Brother Lie, what about my parents? My parents are still at the repair shop in the South City. Don't panic. I've already arranged for someone to pick them up. What did you say? It's a real-time video from the convoy. A black armored business van is pulling up outside the old street in the South City. The door opens. Two bodyguards in black tactical gear, escorting a middle-aged couple into the vehicle. The man is short, with dark skin. His hands are stained with grease from years of repairing cars. Su Xiaodao stared at the screen. His eyes instantly reddened. Brother Lie. Using the excuse that Blackstone base needs maintenance and logistics staff, I contacted your parents in advance. They don't know about the apocalypse. They just think I'm paying them a high salary to work at the base for a few days. The convoy will arrive in 20 minutes. Su Xiaodao's lips trembled, unable to speak for a long time. In the previous life, after the Red Moon descended, Su Xiaodao fought desperately to return to the South City to save his parents. But the old street had long been overrun by mutated rats. In the end, all he found was his father's broken wrench, and the old apron his mother could never bring herself to throw away. From then on, Su Xiaodao hunted mutated beasts like a madman, until he finally died in a beast's nest. In this life, I won't let them experience that pain again. I patted his shoulder. Rest easy. Your parents, in this life I've brought them back for you. Su Xiaodao lowered his head, his shoulders trembling slightly. After a long while, he finally looked up. With red-rimmed eyes, he said, Brother Lie, thank you. I smiled. Jiang Xini watched this scene in silence. After a moment, she asked softly, then, what about my father? Academician Jiang is safe now. You know my father? Jiang Chengyuan, academician of the Dragon Country Energy Research Institute. Half a month ago, he was taken by the military to the Kyoto underground base to participate in a top-secret energy core project. It is currently one of the safest places in the Dragon Country. As for your mother, I paused. Jiang Xini's mother had passed away from illness years ago. It was a wound in her heart. She didn't press further, just a slight nod. I understand. I get it. I looked at the two of them. My voice grew heavy. From this moment on, Blackstone base is completely sealed. Do not leave the base. Su Xiaodao took a deep breath and nodded. Jiang Xini slowly pressed the Nine Heavens mysterious maiden tattoo on her back. I looked up at the night sky outside the base. Everything is ready. All we need is the final spark. The next morning, in the underground living area of Blackstone base, Su Xiaodao's parents had been settled in the safest living pods. Su Jiangwo had been a soldier in his youth, though he didn't know what was coming. Seeing the defense specifications of the base, he immediately sensed something was wrong. He didn't ask more, just patted Su Xiaodao on the shoulder and said, work hard and follow Qin Lie. Li Guilan had been busy in the kitchen all morning, insisting on making a pot of dumplings for us. Su Xiaodao's eyes turned red as he ate, yet he kept a smile on his face. Before the apocalypse descends, a hot, home-cooked meal is the final luxury for many. Last night, I stored the last batch of supplies into the companion space. The final 10-ton titanium alloy gate of Blackstone base was completely locked shut at dawn. The entire underground fortress was brightly lit, the long-dormant underground energy core running perfectly. The monitoring screens showed 360-degree views of the outside world with no blind spots. Su Xiaodao sat nearby with a bowl of dumplings, watching the monitors. Jiang Xini stood before the giant screen, checking the external defense systems. The Nine Heavens mysterious maiden tattoo on her body had fully recovered. Her cold aura now held an indescribable sharpness. Just then, a local trending notification popped up on my phone. Su Rui is live streaming again. In the video, Su Rui was still in his luxury villa downtown, throwing an extravagant party. Under the crystal chandeliers, champagne towers, music, rich airs. The entire stream was a picture of decadence and excess. I glanced up at the time. Less than an hour until the red moon descends. Su Rui had his arm around Zhao Yuqing, mocking the camera wantonly. Everyone, did you see that? That lunatic Qin Lie is probably hiding in some mountain air raid shelter right now, selling his assets, hoarding rice, buying pork, and even dragged Jiang Xini to get a tattoo. He doesn't actually think the apocalypse is coming. Does he? Haha. Zhao Yuqing leaned into his chest, laughing uncontrollably. Young Master Su, don't even get me started. I really want to see how Qin Lie handles this tomorrow. Su Rui swirled the red wine in his glass, his laugh becoming even more arrogant. If nothing happens tonight, tomorrow I'll take my people to the mountains and smash that pathetic shelter of Qin Lie's, then personally send him to a psychiatric ward. In the live stream, mockery, jeers and insults merged into a wild celebration. But inside Blackstone Base, it was silent save for the low hum of the energy core. I raised my wrist and checked the time. 23:59. 10 seconds left until the red moon descends. The world outside was still celebrating. Inside Blackstone Base, it was silent save for the low hum of the energy core. 10 seconds later, I put down my cutlery. The countdown hit 0, along with a deep ancient hum. The entire planet Blue Star shuddered violently. In the live stream, Su Rui, who had been laughing arrogantly, suddenly went silent, because in the night sky outside his villa's floor-to-ceiling windows, that bright, clear moon turned an eerie crimson in an instant, like a bleeding eyeball staring down at the human world. Immediately after, a thick, impenetrable black mist erupted from the ground, instantly enveloping the entire Jiangzhou city. Holy damn, what the hell is that thing? The moon? Why has the moon turned so red? In the live stream, Su Rui screamed in terror, not even noticing the wine glass shattering on the floor. Bark, bark, roar. Suddenly, in the live stream feed, the purebred poodle Zhao Yuqing held in her arms, let out a bone-chilling roar. Under the gaze of hundreds of thousands of viewers, the poodle's body expanded wildly like a balloon. Black bone spikes erupted from its skin. Its eyes turned crimson, its massive maw filled with razor-sharp fangs. The mutated poodle lunged violently at Zhao Yuqing. Sharp claws ripped through her shoulder, slamming her hard to the ground. The camera shook violently. A scream instantly pierced the eardrums. Young Master Su, save me. Zhao Yuqing's face turned deathly pale, desperately reaching out to Su Rui. But Su Rui was already scared out of his wits. Get away. Don't come near me. He retreated in a panic, even kicking away Zhao Yuqing's reaching hand. Scrambling and crawling toward the second floor, Zhao Yuqing lay sprawled on the floor, the fabric on her shoulder stained red. Her whole body was trembling. Shuhui, save me. But the only response she got was the sight of Su Rui fleeing in terror. The mutated poodle growled, closing in again. Its crimson eyes locked onto her. In the livestream chat, the chat went wild. Save her. Why did Su Rui run? He just abandoned her. It's all over. She's going to die. The hope in Zhao Yuqing's eyes slowly faded, replaced by intense resentment and hatred, just as the monster was about to pounce. The red Lycoris tattoo on her waist suddenly flared with an eerie blood-red light. Ethereal red petals quietly bloomed beneath her. A cold yet sweet floral fragrance filled the air. The mutated poodle suddenly froze, as if it sensed an extremely dangerous presence. A flicker of fear appeared in its crimson eyes. Zhao Yuqing slowly raised her head. Deep in her pupils, a blooming sea of blood-red flowers was reflected, carrying an indescribable chill. Why, did even you have to abandon me? Just as Su Rui reached the stairs, hearing those words, his body stiffened violently. He looked back and saw Lycoris flowers blooming silently around Zhao Yuqing. Those petals, like living creatures, slowly entwined the mutated poodle's limbs. The monster that was so brutal just moments ago now seemed trapped in a nightmare, cowering on the ground, trembling uncontrollably. Zhao Yuqing leaned against the wall and slowly stood up. The wound on her shoulder was covered by red floral patterns. A sinister smile appeared on her pale face. The live stream exploded at that moment. Holy shit, she's awakened. Flowers are blooming on her. What kind of ability is this? Too eerie. Too eerie. The next second, the screen suddenly went black. Livestream interrupted. I looked at the pitch-black phone screen. A cold smirk curled on my lips. The Lycoris of the Yellow Springs. When the flower blooms in the underworld, there is no way back. In this life, Zhao Yuqing has certainly chosen a fitting destination for herself. Brother Lie, the whole city is in chaos. Su Xiaodao looked at the city footage on the monitor. his voice trembling. "Stop looking outside. Guard your heart. Guard your soul." I turned around abruptly, let out a low shout, because the red moon energy piercing through 100 meters of earth had already descended upon us. Su Xiaodao and Jiang Xini groaned in pain simultaneously. The red moon energy was like boiling magma, rushing madly into their bodies. On Su Xiaodao's left arm, the tattoo of Neza, the great god of the three altars, erupted in soaring flames. On his right arm, the third eye of Erlang Shen seemed to snap open, radiating golden light in all directions. On Jiang Xini's back, the totem of the nine heavens mysterious girl turned into a divine rain, lifting her entire body into mid-air. Her once cold aura now became sacred and inviolable. They have awakened, but the red moon energy I endured was 100 times theirs. Boom! I ripped apart my windbreaker. The Pangu tattoo on my chest instantly erupted in a blinding dark gold light. A vast, ancient force, an absolute power that seemed capable of crushing eternity, exploded violently with me at the center. Then, a tearing pain shot through my back. 9 low dragon roars exploded simultaneously deep within the air raid shelter. The 9 dragons pulling the coffin totem on my back, fully awakened under the infusion of red moon energy. 9 pitch-black dragon shadows slowly emerged from behind me. Their bodies were colossal. Their scales were freezing and sharp. Crimson dragon eyes snapped open simultaneously. They dragged an ancient black coffin. Floating behind me, crimson chains atop the black coffin tightened inch by inch. An indescribable forbidden pressure instantly swept through the entire underground fortress. Su Xiaodao's face turned pale, taking several steps back. The avatar of the nine heavens mysterious girl behind Jiang Xini trembled slightly, as if instinctively sensing a threat. My left leg, the totem of Donghuang Tai, ignited the true solar fire, as if it could incinerate the 8 wildernesses. My right leg, the phantom of the Monkey King, erupted with soaring battle intent. The golden body of fighting, invulnerable to all laws. The 4 supreme avatars awakened simultaneously at this moment, but I quickly forced down the clash between them. The 4 forbidden powers were too strong. The current me cannot activate them all simultaneously without a price. Pangu governs strength. 9 dragons pulling the coffin governs suppression and annihilation. Donghuang governs fire. The great sage governs the combat body. I can only choose one each time I use them. Just then, a violent crashing sound came from the titanium alloy gates of the shelter. On the surveillance screen, mutant wild boars and mutant wolves from the deep mountains, following the scent of living humans, were frantically ramming the gates. Brother Lie, the beasts in the mountains have mutated. Su Xiaodao gripped the 3-point double-edged lance condensed from Erlang Shen's avatar, battle intent surging in his eyes. I cracked my neck, my bones letting out a thunderous pop. Let's go. Go out and stretch my muscles. Let me see these so-called apocalyptic beasts, if they're worthy of being our drinking snacks. Black mist shrouded the outside of the shelter. Dozens of mutant beasts were frantically ramming the titanium alloy walls. Leading them was a beast over 3 meters long, a mutant Boar King covered in black scales. Every impact made the earth tremble slightly. The side door of the shelter slowly opened. Shirtless, I strode out with Su Xiaodao and Jiang Xini. Sensing the scent of fresh flesh, the mutant herd stopped ramming instantly, turning their heads in unison, crimson gazes locking onto us. The mutant Boar King let out a roar, charging forward on all 4s, slamming toward me like a heavy tank. Brother Lie, watch out. This is a peak level 1 mutant beast. Su Xiaodao instinctively tried to step forward. Step back. I spat out 2 words coldly, standing my ground, neither dodging nor flinching. Just as the Boar King's spear-like tusk was about to pierce my chest, I moved. No fancy moves. Raising my right hand, clenching my fist. Power of Pangu, I whispered in my mind. The Pangu totem on my chest suddenly flared with dark gold light. A blurred silhouette of an ancient giant converged on my fist. One punch thrown. Boom! The air was compressed to the limit by the terrifying force, creating a piercing sonic boom. My fist slammed squarely into the mutant Boar King's skull. With a sudden humming sound, a domineering internal force pierced through its hard skull, instantly shattering all life force within. That multi-ton mutant Boar King didn't even have time to scream. Its massive body slammed at my feet like a pile of mud. 1 punch kill. Peak level 1 Beast King. Then, 9 low dragon roars echoed from behind me. The phantom of 9 dragons pulling the coffin emerged behind me. 9 black dragons slowly opened their crimson eyes, dragging an ancient black coffin, suppressing the void. 9 dragons suppression. As my voice fell, rumble. The black phantom flickered slightly, a forbidden pressure, as if from the depths of the abyss, instantly enveloped the entire forest. Some low-level mutants had no room to resist. They were crushed flat against the ground, their bones snapping under the unbearable weight. In just 10 seconds, dozens of mutants were completely wiped out. Su Xiaodao watched in stunned silence. Brother Lie, this is just too insane. Jiang Xini stood behind me, a flash of shock crossing her cold eyes. I didn't explain. I simply walked up to the mutant Boar King, raised my hand and sliced open its skull. A thumb-sized crystal emitting a faint red glow appeared in my palm. The most valuable currency of the apocalypse. The crystal core. A slight smile played on my lips. My first harvest of the apocalypse is mine. I stored the crystal core in my companion space. As the core entered, I could clearly feel the companion space vibrate slightly. Though the expansion was minuscule, it had indeed grown a bit. In my previous life, humans soon discovered that cores could not only boost and awaken strength, but also power special spaces, totem avatars, and weapon equipment. In the late stages of the apocalypse, it even replaced gold and currency, becoming the only universal trading resource. I looked at Su Xiaodao. Dig out all the cores from these mutants. Don't waste the meat either. Store it after purification. You got it. Su Xiaodao instantly perked up. On it. Just then, on the mountain road nearby, chaotic footsteps and cries for help suddenly echoed. Help! A dozen wretched men were scrambling desperately toward the bunker. Behind them, following them were several creatures like cheetahs, mutant bloodblade mantises. I narrowed my eyes, identifying the man in the lead, Fatty Lu, the contractor previously in charge of Blackstone Base's external construction. In my previous life, these people kicked me while I was down, pushing me to the mutants to buy themselves time. Boss Qin, young Master Qin, help us. Please let us in to hide. We're all from Jiangzhou. You can't just leave us to die. I stood my ground, watching him coldly. Leave them to die? A chill flashed through my eyes. When you were kicking me while I was down in my last life, why didn't you think about us being from Jiangzhou? Fatty Lu froze. Of course, he didn't understand what I was saying, but he could read my eyes. That wasn't the look of a savior. It was the look one gives a dead man. I slowly raised my right hand. My bunker doesn't take trash. As the words fell, I snapped my fingers. The titanium alloy walls surrounding the bunker instantly erupted with terrifying high-voltage arcs. The bloodblade mantises in the lead were blasted away by millions of volts. Fatty Lu collapsed in terror. Young Master Qin, I was wrong.
I'm truly sorry.
I didn't look at him again. I won't slaughter the innocent, but I won't save my enemies, and the wicked must die. I turned and walked back into the bunker. The heavy titanium alloy doors slowly closed. The screams outside were soon swallowed by the black mist. Day 3 of the Red Moon's descent. The outside world had become a living hell. The city center was littered with wrecked cars and ruins. Mutant stray cats and dogs, as large as calves, hunted survivors in packs across the streets. Meanwhile, inside the Blackstone bunker, the rich aroma of beef tallow hotpot wafted through the air. Su Xiaodao was eating until his mouth was greasy. Brother Lie, if the apocalypse is like this every day, I think I could actually get used to it. Jiang Xini glanced at him. Why don't you go outside and try? Su Xiaodao immediately shut his mouth. I picked up a cold beer and took a sip, leaning back on the sofa. Just then, piercing alarm suddenly blared. Beep, beep, beep. Warning. Perimeter defense detected multiple heat signatures approaching. I casually flicked on the giant surveillance screen. On the mountain road a kilometer from the bunker, a massive, dark crowd was surging toward me. At least 500 or 600 people. They were armed with machetes, steel pipes, and many were even wielding automatic rifles. Leading the pack was a shirtless, bald brute with a face full of scars. Across his body, wound a lifelike tattoo of a blood-red python. Long Wu, the boss of the Azure Dragon Gang. In my previous life, Long Wu used his S-rank blood python totem to terrorize everyone in the early days of the apocalypse. Who would have thought that in this life, he would actually set his sights on me? On the monitor, Long Wu, clutching a machete, roared toward the main gate. You coward, listen up. I know you've stockpiled enough food for lifetimes. Open the gate now. Hand over the supplies and the women. If I'm in a good mood, I might just leave you alive. Otherwise, I'll flatten this pathetic shell of yours today. These bastards dare to target Jiang Xini. I smiled. Don't be in such a rush. A defense system that costs tens of millions needs to be put to the test. Outside the bunker, Long Wu waited for a while, and seeing no response from within, he flew into a rage. You're refusing a generous offer. Fire. Blow this damn door open. Blow it open. 3 rockets shrieked through the air, trailing flames, slamming violently into the gate. Boom! A thunderous explosion shook the night sky. The gang members erupted in triumphant cheers. It's open, right? Ha ha ha. What Doomsday fortress? It's nothing but a tin can before Brother Long. But as the smoke cleared, the smiles froze on their faces. The silver-gray titanium alloy gate still stood firm. There wasn't even a single visible dent on the surface. Long Wu's face darkened. Keep firing. Just then, the metal armor above the wall slid open to the sides. Clank, clank, clank. 12 cold, 6-barrel Gatling guns rose slowly from their hidden slots, their dark muzzles ruthlessly locked onto the dense crowd below. In the control room, holding a wine glass, I spoke calmly. One warning, the external broadcast blared. This is Blackstone Base, private property. Leave immediately, or suffer the consequences. Ha ha ha. Private property. I am the law now. Charge. I set down my glass, opened fire. The next second, rat-tat-tat-tat-tat. 12 Gatlings opened fire simultaneously. Large caliber armor-piercing rounds wove a suffocating storm of metal. The mountain road was instantly illuminated by fire. The gang thugs fell in heaps. In just 30 seconds, the area outside the bunker was filled with screams. Over 200 thugs were neutralized. The survivors scrambled back in sheer terror. I sat in the control room, expressionless. In the apocalypse, some people don't deserve to be saved. Cease fire. I pressed the stop button. Outside the bunker, the Azure Dragon gang, once 500 or 600 strong, was now reduced to less than half. Damn it. I'll skin you alive. Long Wu stood up, drenched in blood. His body was covered in a thick layer of blood-red scales. As an S-rank blood python awakened, his vitality and defense were incredibly formidable. Conventional firepower truly struggled to kill him. Earth awakened. Dig a tunnel for me. If I don't kill everyone inside today, I swear I'm no longer human. Several lackeys with pangolin tattoos immediately activated their abilities, frantically digging holes into the ground. I watched the monitor coldly. Seeking death, are we? I stood up. Shout out. Cinny, guard the place. I'm gonna take out the trash. The titanium alloy gates slowly slide open. I step out of the shelter alone. Long Wu sneers. Finally decided to come out and die? Men. Get him. Seeing I was alone, the 200 remaining thugs were suddenly emboldened by greed. They raised their weapons and charged. I stood my ground, slowly lifting my left leg. The Donghuang Tai totem on my leg erupted in a blinding dark gold light, a heat that seemed capable of incinerating the 8 wildernesses. A terrifying temperature that could melt all creation exploded violently from my center. Solar true fire. I stomped my foot on the ground. Boom! A sea of golden flames swept out with overwhelming force. The dozens of thugs at the front, the moment they touched the golden fire, were blasted away instantly. The ground was scorched black. Steel weapons melted into liquid iron in an instant. The terrifying heat forced everyone to retreat in panic. They didn't even have the right to get close to me. With a single strike, over 200 thugs completely broke down. Only Long Wu remained, standing alone. His legs gave out. He collapsed to the ground with a thud. Monster. What kind of monster are you? I walked toward him step by step. Now you know fear. Too late. Long Wu knelt on the ground, watching me approach slowly, his mental defenses completely shattered.
Impossible.
I am an S-rank awakened. I cannot lose to you. A flash of madness crossed his eyes. He suddenly bit his tongue, spraying a mouthful of essence blood onto the blood python tattoo on his chest. Roar. With a non-human scream, Long Wu's body began to mutate. His bones stretched violently. His skin was covered in scales. He transformed into a terrifying blood python over 20 meters long, as thick as a water vat. S-rank totem. Full awakening. I will devour you. The blood python opened a maw large enough to swallow a car, and lunged to swallow me whole. A foul wind blasted my face. Rubble from the ground was sucked into its mouth. Does size even matter? I sneered. I stepped forward violently with my right leg. Monkey King. Fighting Buddha golden body. The great sage totem on my right leg erupted in golden light. A wild, rebellious spirit, an uncontrollable force, a defiant will that suppressed heaven and earth soared into the sky. The next second, my body was covered in a layer of brilliant golden light. My bones roared. My blood surged like a dragon. Clad in golden chainmail, and wearing the phoenix wing crown, a phantom of the fighting Buddha emerged behind me. The moment those golden eyes opened, it felt as if the black mist of the sky was ripped apart. The blood python lunged to kill. Instead of retreating, I charged. I shot into the air like a cannonball. Bang! I stomped hard on the blood python's lower jaw, forcing its massive head to snap backward. The blood python let out a scream of agony. Its massive body rolled violently, trying to throw me off, but I stood firmly atop its head. My feet were like mountains, immovable. Roar. The blood python flew into a rage. His giant tail swept across. As the tail swept through, every boulder and tree in its path exploded. I raised my right hand. The phantom of the great sage behind me raised its hand in sync. In the void, a staff burning with golden fighting spirits slowly materialized. Ancient runes on the staff lit up inch by inch. The moment my fingers gripped the phantom staff, an indescribable, violent fighting spirit surged through my entire being. Freeze. I swung the staff in a wide arc. Boom! The phantom staff clashed violently with the blood python's tail. The air shattered. The shockwave swept through the forest like a hurricane. The blood python's tail, capable of crushing armored cars, had its scales shattered by this single blow. it was sent flying backward. Fear finally appeared in the eyes of the blood python.
Impossible.
I am an S-rank blood python. How can you possibly suppress me? I stood atop its head, looking down from above. My gaze was ice cold, because your so-called S-rank is nothing before a forbidden totem. Nothing at all. As the words fell, I gripped the golden cudgel with both hands, raising it high. The phantom of the great sage behind me suddenly surged in size at this moment. 10 meters, 30 meters, 50 meters, finally transforming into a towering golden war ape manifestation. Treading upon the black mist, with the red moon above its head, the golden cudgel in its hand was like a pillar supporting the sky, carrying a terrifying power capable of crushing mountains and rivers, smashing down violently onto the blood python's vital spot. Battle-fighting demon suppression. Boom! As the blow landed, the entire forest seemed to shudder violently. The earth split open, debris soared into the sky. The blood python's massive body was slammed directly into the ground. The scales at its vital spot shattered piece by piece. The terrifying battle power surged through its skeleton, completely shattering every spark of life within it. The blood python's pupils contracted violently, its massive body twitched a few times, finally freezing completely. The black mist covering the mountain was forcibly swept away by the aftershock of the strike. I retracted the phantom of the golden cudgel, landing steadily. The manifestation of the great sage behind me slowly faded. Only the totem on my right leg retained a faint golden glow. S-rank awakened. Long Wu, slain in a single blow. I used my fingers like a blade to slice open the python's skull, extracting a crystal core emitting a dense red light. Not bad. A core condensed from an S-rank totem. Barely usable. I stored the core in my companion space, turning back toward the air raid shelter. Behind me lay a field of defeated foes. No one dared to look me in the eye again. I collected hundreds of cores from the battlefield. Most of them were low-level cores, but the sheer quantity was overwhelming. As the massive energy from the cores flooded into the companion space, I could clearly feel the space expanding. The source power within my body also became thicker and more potent. What surprised me even more was that as my strength grew, the 9 dragons pulling the coffin totem on my back became more solid. Of the 9 crimson chains on the ancient black coffin, the first one actually showed a hint of loosening. I closed my eyes, feeling the obscure information coming from the 9 dragons pulling the coffin. 9 dragons pulling the coffin isn't a simple suppression-type totem. Its true horror lies in devouring. Devouring bestiaries, devouring remnants of enemy totems, devouring all convertible energy, then feeding that power back into me, strengthening my physical source and companion space. This ability is called Coffin Burial Devouring. However, the first chain hasn't been completely unlocked yet. To truly activate Coffin Burial Devouring, I need a higher level core as a key. At least a level 5 beast core. A level 5 core. Huh? I opened my eyes, a slight smile playing on my lips. In my previous life, shortly after the red moon descended, a level 5 beast king indeed appeared in the East Sea. The sea-covering bone dragon. That thing almost destroyed all of Jiangzhou. In this life, I'm taking its core. Satisfied, I turned and walked back to the shelter. The gates slowly closed, completely sealing off the slaughter outside. Su Xiaodao rushed over, his eyes filled with fanaticism. Brother Lie, you're absolutely insane. Jiang Xini handed over a warm towel, her beautiful eyes sparkling with admiration. You've worked hard. The hot pot is still warm. I wiped my hands, sat back on the sofa, and picked up a piece of wagyu. Meanwhile, inside the Supreme Military Command Center, 500 meters below Kyoto, the atmosphere was oppressive to the extreme. Report. Eastern Theater Line 3 has collapsed. 3 level 4 beasts have broken through the blockade. Report. A tsunami has hit the southern coast. Suspected landing of a deep-sea behemoth. Report. Conventional weapons are showing a sharp decline in effectiveness against level 3+ beasts. Our awakened units have suffered heavy casualties. Each piece of bad news was like a heavy hammer, striking everyone's heart. The commander standing before the giant electronic sandbox closed his eyes in pain. He was the supreme commander of the Dragon Nation's military, the Dragon Marshal. Only 3 days since the Red Moon descended, and the modern civilization humans took pride in was mostly destroyed. Even the military, faced with those terrifying mutated behemoths, was finding it harder and harder to cope. Are we truly doomed? Just then, the intelligence monitoring officer suddenly stood up. Commander, look at this. Footage just sent back by the high-altitude stealth drone. On the big screen, the image zooms in rapidly. It's a mountain fortress enclosed by titanium alloy walls. Outside the fortress gates, the forest has been torn open by fire and bullet holes. Abandoned vehicles and weapons from the fleeing Azure Dragon thugs are scattered everywhere. And in the center of the screen, a shirtless young man stands alone on the mountain road outside the fortress. Before him is a blood python over 20 meters long, as thick as a water vat. The python is covered in dark red scales, its massive pupils filled with madness. Its gargantuan body coils through the forest, like a monster crawled out from the abyss. That's an S-rank awakened beast form. Commander
Commander Tai.
Should we deploy nearby troops for support immediately? It's too late. They're too far away. By the time our people arrive, the battle will be long over. But in the next second, the entire command center falls into a deathly silence. On the screen, a brilliant golden light suddenly erupts from the young man's right leg. An unruly golden war ape avatar thunders into existence behind him. The avatar is clad in golden chainmail armor, wearing a purple gold phoenix wing crown. A golden staff in its hand suppresses the void. Even through the drone's footage, everyone feels a violent battle intent sweeping across heaven and earth. What kind of totem is this? An intelligence officer mutters. No one answers, because the battle on screen has reached its most shocking moment. The young man steps firmly onto the python's head, gripping the phantom of the golden staff with both hands. The golden war ape avatar behind him surges in size, 10 meters, 30 meters, 50 meters, finally becoming a terrifying avatar as tall as a mountain. The golden staff aims for the python's vital spot and slam down with absolute force. Boom! Even through the screen, they can see the entire forest shudder violently. The ground shatters, debris soaring into the sky. That S-rank blood python, whose defense could withstand heavy artillery, was crushed straight into the earth by a single blow. The python's massive body twitches violently, then goes completely stiff and dead. The entire command center is pin-drop silent. Several seconds pass before someone manages to swallow hard. One hit to kill an S-rank beast form. How is this possible? Just what rank of awakened is he? Target identity found. Qin Lie, 22 years old, former heir to the Qin group of Jiangzhou City. 20 days before the Red Moon descended, he suddenly liquidated all his assets, bought the Blackstone base in the outskirts of Jiangzhou, and stockpiled massive amounts of supplies. Meanwhile, he took 2 companions to the Ghost Axe underground tattoo parlor, spending 7 consecutive days getting extensive tattoos. 1 day before the Red Moon descended, he officially moved into the Blackstone base. The command center falls silent once again. Everyone realizes one thing: this young man named Qin Lie seems to have known the apocalypse was coming. Keep digging. Pull up the files on those 2 people with him. And immediately list Qin Lie as a top-level strategic target. Send special envoys to Jiangzhou. The morning after wiping out the Azure Dragon Society, I was lying in the temperature-controlled pool of the bunker, resting, absorbing the massive crystal core energy within me. A piercing alarm shatters the peace once again. Brother Lie, more death wishers have come knocking. Su Xiaodao hurried to the poolside, handing me the surveillance tablet. Not many this time, only a few dozen, but the leader seems to be an old acquaintance. I took the tablet, glanced at the screen, and a cold smile curled on my lips. On the screen, dozens of ragged thugs armed with crude weapons were approaching the bunker along the mountain road. The man leading them was covered in grime, looking gaunt and haggard, but I recognized him instantly. The son of Jiangzhou's richest man, my nemesis from my previous life, Shu Hui. The day the Red Moon descended, he was live-streaming from his downtown villa, terrified out of his wits by a mutated poodle. I didn't expect him to survive the early apocalypse by relying on that A-rank Cerberus totem on his back. Over the last few days, the city center became a playground for mutated beasts, and his hillside villa was trampled to the ground. He survived by sacrificing dozens of bodyguards as bait, a frantic escape. He knows very well, the only absolutely safe place in all of Jiangzhou is my deep mountain air raid shelter, so he came hunting for me like a mad dog. Qin Lie, I know you're in there. Su Rue walked to a spot 50 meters from the gate. Pointing at the camera, he let out a hysterical laugh. Ha ha ha. You think you're safe hiding in this turtle shell? I've awakened the power of hell itself. I am a powerhouse now. Today, I'm gonna smash your door down and seize all your supplies. Looking at Su Rue shouting like a clown on the screen, I rose from the swimming pool, casually grabbing a towel to dry myself. An A-rank totem has made him this arrogant. Brother Lie, I'll go deal with him, no need. The grudges of my past life, I will settle them with my own hands. Open the door. Click. The heavy titanium alloy gate slowly opened. I stepped out of the shelter alone. Qin Lie, you finally dared to come out with just these few useless nobodies you brought. You think you can steal my supplies? I glanced at the thugs behind him, their legs shaking in fear, with a look of utter disdain. To deal with you, I am enough on my own. Qin Lie, look who I brought for you. The crowd slowly parted. A graceful figure slowly emerged from the black mist. She wore a blood-stained red dress. Her skin was pale. Her features were as exquisite as ever, but her eyes now held a sinister crimson glow. On her exposed waist, a blood-red lycoris flower tattoo slowly bloomed. Translucent red petals manifested behind her. The fragrance filled the air, so seductive it makes your skin crawl. Zhao Yuqing, she's actually alive. Not only was she alive, she's also awakened an A-rank totem, the equinox flower of the underworld. The thugs around her looked at her. Their eyes gradually grew hazy. Some even knelt on the ground, crawling toward her like they'd lost their souls. Zhao Yuqing lightly raised her hand. A blood-red vine dropped from her fingertips, wrapping around the neck of one of the thugs. The thug didn't struggle at all. Instead, he wore an obsessed smile. His face quickly turned ashen. It was as if all the strength had been drained from him. A lycoris flower slowly bloomed from his chest. Zhao Yuqing narrowed her eyes in satisfaction. Her pale complexion regained some color. Qin Lie, didn't expect this, did you? I've awakened too. Su Rui stood behind her, a cold, sinister smile on his face. Qin Lie, weren't you acting all arrogant? Zhao Yuqing is now an A-rank psychic awakener. Her lycoris fragrance can control over a dozen awakeners. I want to see. Facing the woman you once loved. Will you still be able to strike her? Zhao Yuqing chuckled softly and slowly walked toward me. With every step she took, a blood-red lycoris bloomed beneath her feet. The fragrance in the air grew thicker. In a daze, the surrounding black mist dissipated. The world before my eyes changed. I was back in my previous life. The beast tide surged. A blood moon hung in the sky. I lay covered in blood amidst the ruins. A mutated three-headed beast approached me step by step. Zhao Yuqing knelt by my side, crying her eyes out. Qin Lie, I was wrong. In my past life, I shouldn't have left you. I shouldn't have trusted Su Rui. If I could do it all over again, I would definitely stay by your side. She reached out her hand, wanting to touch my face. Her voice was tender, carrying heartbreaking memories. Qin Lie, please forgive me. Okay? I looked at her silently. The next second, I smiled. Zhao Yuqing, your illusion is too fake. The weeping Zhao Yuqing before me froze. I took a step forward. The phantom of 9 dragons pulling the coffin suddenly emerged behind me. 9 pitch-black dragon shadows opened their crimson eyes simultaneously. An ancient black coffin floated behind me. Crimson chains atop the black coffin vibrated slightly. A vast, forbidden pressure descends from the sky. The surrounding ruins, the beast tide, the blood moon, the weeping Zhao Yuqing, all shatter piece by piece like a mirror. Reality returns. Zhao Yuqing's face turns deathly pale. She suddenly recoils a step. A trace of blood leaks from the corner of her mouth. The phantom of the equinox flower behind her trembles violently. Petals wither and fall one by one.
Impossible.
She looks at me in disbelief.
Impossible.
My yellow spring fragrance can lure out the deepest obsession in any heart. How could you have no reaction at all? Obsession. You aren't worthy of being my obsession. Zhao Yuqing's face instantly loses all color. These words are more brutal than any attack. She bites her lip. A hint of panic flickers in her eyes. No. Qin Lie, you clearly loved me once. You just still hate me, right? She suddenly shifts her expression. Tears well up in her eyes, looking at me with pitiful desperation. I admit I was wrong before. But back then, I didn't know the apocalypse was coming. I thought you had truly gone mad. Qin Lie, as long as you let me into the shelter, I can return to your side. I am now an A-rank awakened. I can help you. I can help you control the survivors. I am useful to you. Zhao Yuqing, you bitch. You just said you'd help me kill him. Zhao Yuqing suddenly whips around, screaming, Shuhui, shut your mouth. If you hadn't humiliated Qin Lie on the livestream, if you hadn't insisted on dragging me to mock him, how would I have ended up like this? Did you even look back at me once when you ran away? What right do you have to judge me? Su Rui trembles with rage. I watch them tear each other apart and find it utterly tedious. To think I was killed by these two in my previous life. How ridiculous. Truly ridiculous. Qin Lie, I was wrong. I really know I was wrong. Please give me one more chance. She reaches out to grab my wrist, but before she can touch me, an invisible pressure blasts her away. I look down at her from above. My voice is calm. You aren't regretful. You've just realized Su Rui can't protect you. And that I am stronger than him. Zhao Yuqing's body shudders. The tears in her eyes freeze. I raise my right hand. The phantom black coffin behind me slowly opens. Pitch black chains emerge from the coffin, instantly wrapping around the equinox flower totem on her waist. The equinox flower is indeed beautiful when it blooms. Too bad it bloomed in the wrong place. As the words fall, the black coffin chains suddenly tighten. Zhao Yuqing lets out a scream of agony. The blood-red sea of flowers behind her collapses violently. Countless equinox flower phantoms wither in the air. The totem power within her is forcibly suppressed by the 9 dragons pulling the coffin. Her eerie red eyes quickly return to normal. She collapses to the ground as if all her strength had been drained. My power. Qin Lie, you sealed my power. She looks at me in complete despair. You might as well just kill me. Kill you? You aren't worth a second move from me. Su Rui looks at the powerless Zhao Yuqing. There is not a shred of pity in his eyes, only pure malice. Useless trash. Can't even seduce one man. Zhao Yuqing looks at him in disbelief. Shu Hui. What did you say? Su Rui kicks the ground beside her, roaring. If it weren't for a jinx like you, how would I have ended up like this? The last shred of hope in Zhao Yuqing's eyes completely shatters. I watch this scene and find it boring. The apocalypse never changes a person. It only digs out the filthiest parts of their soul sooner. I slowly look towards Su Rui. The farce is over. Now it's time to settle our score. The sinister grin on Su Rui's face vanishes completely, leaving only undisguisable terror. He finally realizes that his proud A-rank hell power is nothing in front of me.
Impossible.
I am an A-rank awakened. I am invincible in this world. Su Rui completely lost it. He let out a beastly roar toward the sky. The clothes on his back exploded instantly. A massive form over 5 meters long, the phantom of a 3-headed hound wreathed in dark flames emerged behind him. Su Rui's body began to swell. His muscles bulged violently. His hands transformed into razor-sharp wolf claws. He lunged at me, carrying a suffocating scent of sulfur. The center head of Su Rui's beast opened its maw, spitting out a stream of scorching black fire. Facing this seemingly overwhelming attack, I didn't even bother to dodge. An A-rank in front of me is worse than a dog. I took a deep breath. The terrifying blood chi within me, refined by the origin power, surged and roared like a mighty river. I didn't activate any avatar or totem. With pure physical strength alone, I pulled my right fist back sharply, and then, like a cannonball firing, I launched a punch straight into that black flame. Boom! The terrifying shockwave tore the black fire apart. My fist smashed bluntly into the wolf claws Su Rui was so proud of. Crack! The sickening sound of bones shattering rang out. Su Rui's right arm snapped instantly. The powerful impact didn't slow down, slamming violently into his chest. Su Rui sprayed blood everywhere. His massive body flew backward like a broken kite, crashing heavily onto the ground.
Impossible.
Without even using an avatar, how could he be this strong? Su Rui clutched his caved-in chest, deep terror finally flashing in his eyes. Because you are too weak. I walked toward him step by step, looking down at him from above. Qin Lie. I was wrong. Please, I beg you, spare me. I looked at him, without a single ripple of emotion in my eyes. In my previous life you pushed me into the beast tide. In this life, I won't push you into the beast tide. A glimmer of hope flashed in Su Rui's eyes, because that would be too easy on you. I slowly raised my hand, and the phantom of 9 dragons pulling a coffin appeared behind me. The black coffin creaked open slightly, and a pitch-black chain shot out, instantly piercing the 3-headed hellhound totem behind Su Rui. Su Rui screamed in agony. The 3-headed hellhound totem struggled violently, but was pinned down firmly by the 9 black dragons. Crack! A crack appeared on the surface of the totem. The supernatural aura around Su Rui receded like a tide. His body rapidly shrank back to its original size, returning to a scarred, powerless ordinary human. My power. Qin Lie, give me back my power. Didn't you love being a dog? From this day forward, you are worse than a dog. Those thugs looked at the powerless Su Rui, their expressions gradually shifting. In the apocalypse, the weak have no dignity, especially since Su Rui had used countless people as bait just to survive. Now, retribution has arrived. Screams soon filled the air. I didn't look back. Shortly after, Su Rui's voice vanished completely. Only a dim level 1 crystal core remained on the ground. I casually swept it into my companion space. The archenemy who pushed me into the beast tide in my past life doesn't even deserve my full strength in this one. Just then, a deafening roar suddenly echoed from the sky. Buzz, buzz, but gale winds howled, blowing away the surrounding black mist. I looked up and saw 3 dark gray military attack helicopters circling above the air raid shelter. The helicopters descended slowly. The bay doors opened, and 2 rows of fully armed special forces leaped down, splitting into 2 lines, securing the perimeter. Then, a high-ranking commander, flanked by several guards, strode forward quickly. Hello, Mr. Qin. I am Lei Zhan, Vice Commander of the Eastern Theater Command. By order of the Supreme Commander, I have come to visit you. You've worked hard, Commander Lei. With mutated beasts roaming everywhere, the fact that you found this place proves the command center is still doing its best to maintain order. Hearing this, a hint of surprise flashed in Lei Zhan's eyes. He had assumed and awakened with my terrifying strength. would hold some contempt for the military, but I know very well that, in the apocalypse, the military is the last shield for ordinary people. Without them holding the front lines, Jiangzhou would only collapse faster. Lei Zhan took a deep breath. Mr. Qin, we saw the footage of you slaying the S-rank blood python via drone. Your strength far exceeds the Awaken system currently known to the command center. The Supreme Commander wishes to establish a top-level wartime partnership with you. We are not drafting you by force, nor do we demand you hand over the Blackstone base. We only hope that when Longwa faces a major catastrophe, you can lend your aid within your capabilities. Agreed. Lei Zhan's eyes lit up. I continued, however, I prefer to operate independently. I am not suited for a conventional command structure. The Blackstone base can serve as an independent cooperative outpost. The military handles order, evacuating survivors, and establishing defense lines. I will provide certain intelligence and slay high-tier beasts when necessary. Resources will be exchanged and intelligence shared. That is the most efficient way. I understand your terms, Mr. Qin. I will convey them exactly to the Supreme Commander. Since this is a partnership, I'll give you a piece of intel first. 3 days from now, at 2 a.m., the East Sea will erupt in the first massive wave of oceanic beasts. Led by 5-level, 5 sea-covering bone dragons, 100,000 sea beasts will land in Jiangzhou City. If heavy firepower lines aren't deployed in advance, Jiangzhou City, and even the entire Eastern Theater, will be devastated. What? Lei Zhan's expression shifted drastically. Cold sweat instantly soaked his back. He stared intently at me, trying to find any sign that I was joking, but all he saw was calmness. Mr. Qin, is this intelligence reliable? I don't joke with the lives of 3 million people. Lei Zhan took a deep breath. I will report this to the Supreme Commander immediately and mobilize all forces in the Eastern Theater for defense. Additionally, I need a batch of heavy military equipment, high-precision machine tools, special alloy materials, 10 sets of naval-grade automated CIWS, and a batch of thermobaric munitions. I won't take these for free. In exchange, intelligence regarding high-tier beasts will be synchronized with the military first. These are strategic materials. I need to request permission from the Dragon Marshal. But personally, I believe this trade is worth it. Fine. Mr. Qin, thank you for your willingness to cooperate. The military will hold the line for humanity, and I will deal with the monsters you cannot. Each to their own duty. Mr. Qin, I will deliver those words to the Supreme Commander. Watching Lei Zhan's retreating figure as he hurried onto the plane, my gaze darkened slightly. Level 5 Beast Kings. That is exactly the key to unlocking the first chain of the 9 dragons pulling the coffin. The core of the sea-covering bone dragon. I will have it. 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. Several heavy transport helicopters delivered the special machine tools, CIWS and thermobaric bombs I requested, one after another to the entrance of the shelter. As for the remaining strategic materials, Lei Zhan sent word that they would be transported in batches. I stored all these materials into my companion space. The defense level of the shelter rose once again. Day 4, 2 a.m. I sat in the wide leather chair of the monitoring room, holding a cup of steaming black coffee. Brother Lai, it's pouring rain outside, and why is the rain black? Su Xiaodao looked at the screen, his brow furrowed. I took a sip of coffee, my gaze deep. It has begun. At the same moment, at the eastern coastal defense line of Jiangzhou City, Lei Zhan stood in the temporary command post, staring intently at the radar screen filled with red dots surging like a tsunami. Cold sweat poured down his cheeks. Qin Lie's intelligence was true. The East Sea beasts have landed. Fire! All batteries open fire. We cannot let them break into the city. 3 million survivors are behind us. The heavy artillery positions erupted in a deafening roar. Countless shells, trailing long plumes of fire, slammed into the coastline, lighting up the pitch-black sky as bright as day. However, the moment the flares ascended, every soldier on the front line fell into despair. Upon the sea, hundreds of thousands of mutated sea beasts were riding the waves. There were mutated giant crabs the size of armored vehicles, amphibious fishmen covered in poisonous spines, and swarms of sea snakes charging frantically through the artillery fire. In less than 10 minutes of engagement, the first line of defense was completely torn to shreds. Commander Lei, we can't hold them. There are too many beasts. Our defense line has completely collapsed. Lei Zhan drew the pistol from his waist, his eyes bloodshot with rage. Notify the entire army. Even if we all fall in battle today, we must protect the civilians. Rumble. Just as the military prepared for a final, desperate stand, the earth trembled. A terrifying pressure, indescribable in words, suddenly swept in from the depths of the ocean. Inside Jiangzhou City, 3 million survivors hiding in ruins and basements simultaneously felt a sharp pain in their chests, as if a mountain were crushing their hearts, making even breathing a struggle. What on earth is that? Lei Zhan looked up at the night sky in despair, only to see the thick black mist torn apart by a pair of massive bony wings. A terrifying bone dragon, over 100 meters long, shrouded in the ghostly mists of the deep sea, slowly descended from the clouds. Its eyes were like 2 giant red lanterns, radiating a cold aura of death. Level 5 Beast King, the sea-covering bone dragon. In the early days of the apocalypse, a level 5 mutated beast was synonymous with invincibility, a world-ending disaster capable of erasing a city with ease. The sea-covering bone dragon let out a roar that shattered the heavens. It opened its abyss like maw, and a pitch-black dragon breath erupted. Black flames instantly consumed everything within 1,000 meters. The heavy artillery positions were completely paralyzed. It's over. Jiangzhou is doomed. Despair spread through Jiangzhou like a plague. Countless people closed their eyes, waiting for death to arrive. And right at that moment, inside the Blackstone shelter, I slowly set down my coffee cup. On the screen, that 100-meter bone dragon was flaunting its power in the black mist. There was no fear in my eyes, only a burning, intense glow. Su Xiaodao's expression shifted. Brother Lai, are you going out? That thing is a level 5 Beast King. Jiang Xini also grabbed my arm. There's no need to take the risk. I gently patted the back of Jiang Xini's hand, a cocky smirk curling on my lips. My 9 dragons pulling the coffin is still missing a key, and that big lizard's crystal core is exactly what I want. I turned and walked toward the elevator. Watch the house, and brew me a cup of tea while you're at it. I'll be back by the time it cools. Above Jiangzhou City, the sea-covering bone dragon was recklessly spitting black breath, obliterating the defenses. Lei Zhan closed his eyes, awaiting the arrival of death. Right then, a pitch-black pillar of light soared into the sky from the deep mountains on the outskirts of Jiangzhou. The black light wasn't cold, but carried an indescribable sense of antiquity and majesty. The thick black mist was forcibly torn open. What is that? Lei Zhan snapped his eyes open. 3 million survivors and the remaining soldiers all instinctively looked toward the Blackstone shelter. Under the gaze of millions, a slender young man was following that black gold pillar of light, ascending into the high sky. He used no flight equipment, simply stepping through the air, as if there were invisible stairs beneath his feet. It's Mr. Qin. It's Qin Lie. Lei Zhan trembled with excitement. As I continued to rise, the 9 dragons pulling the coffin totem behind me fully expanded. 9 pitch-black dragon shadows dominated the firmament, their bodies stretching for hundreds of meters. Their crimson eyes opened simultaneously. They dragged an ancient black coffin, spanning across the skies of Jiangzhou. Crimson chains atop the black coffin vibrated slowly. A supreme, ancient, and inviolable taboo pressure swept through all of Jiangzhou like a tsunami. Under this pressure, the 100,000 mutated sea beasts attacking below instantly let out terrified wails, all collapsing to the ground, shivering in fear. It's Mr. Qin from the Blackstone base. He's come to support Jiangzhou. Countless survivors looked up from the ruins, their eyes filled with shock and awe at their narrow escape. I stood 1,000 meters in the air, facing off against the 100-meter sea-covering bone dragon. Before its colossal frame, I was as tiny as an ant, but the 9 dragons pulling the coffin behind me looked more like an ancient nightmare than it did. Sensing the provocation, the sea-covering bone dragon glared at me with crimson eyes, letting out a heaven-shaking roar. It opened its abyss-like maw, a blast of black dragon breath, 10 times larger than before, slammed toward me like a falling meteorite. Child's play. The Pangu totem on my chest erupted with a soaring fighting spirit. Law of heaven and earth. The phantom of Pangu emerged behind me, facing the whistling black dragon breath. I didn't even bother to dodge. I slowly raised my right fist. The Pangu manifestation on my chest erupted with a thunderous roar. Strands of heaven-opening power coiled around my fist. The next second, I took a step forward. Boom! The moment my fist collided with the black dragon breath, the entire sky seemed to be ripped open. The black flames were forcibly torn apart by the domineering heaven-opening power, transforming into 2 waves of fire. Howling past my left and right sides, the fire waves crashed into the ruins, burning 2 charred trenches 1,000 meters long into the ground, and I stood between the 2 seas of fire. My body remained motionless. The Pangu phantom behind me slowly raised its head. The once blurred outline of the manifestation became increasingly solid at this moment. Dark gold divine light spread from the Pangu tattoo on my chest to the phantom behind me. You big lizard. My turn. As the words fell, the Pangu tattoo on my chest erupted completely. The once illusory Pangu manifestation suddenly surged to dozens of meters high, muscles knotted and bulging, muscles coiled and powerful, an aura vast and ancient, like an ancient giant stepping out from the end of chaos. and in its palm, a giant axe condensed from pure heaven-opening power, gradually turned from illusory to real, gradually becoming tangible. Dark gold divine runes lit up inch by inch on the axe blade. I slowly raised my right hand. The Pangu manifestation behind me simultaneously raised the heaven-opening axe. The movements were perfectly synchronized. The sea-covering bone dragon seemed to sense a crisis of death. Fear finally emerged in its crimson eyes. It beat its bone wings desperately, trying to create distance. But the moment it was locked on by the Pangu manifestation, the black mist around it seemed to freeze. I took a step forward. My voice boomed like thunder. Pangu, open the heavens. I slashed down violently with my right hand. The Pangu manifestation behind me swung the heaven-opening axe at the same instant. Boom! A dark gold axe light hundreds of meters long tore through the black mist, as if to split the entire night sky in two. The sea-covering bone dragon flapped its wings desperately, but it was already too late. The axe light slashed brutally into its indestructible bone wings. Crack! The massive bone wings shattered instantly. The sea-covering bone dragon let out a deafening wail. Its massive body lost balance, plunging toward the ground like a meteorite. I gave it no chance to breathe. With a stomp of my foot, I turned into a streak of dark gold light, appearing instantly above the sea-covering bone dragon. The Pangu manifestation behind me moved in sync. I clenched my fist. The Pangu manifestation gripped the heaven-opening axe with both hands. Raising it high, the sea-covering bone dragon struggled to look up, its crimson eyes filled with terror. My voice was cold. Shatter! I struck down with a punch. The heaven-opening axe in the Pangu manifestation's hands slammed down accordingly. The heaven-opening axe hit the sea-covering bone dragon's skull dead center. Terrifying heaven-opening power surged frantically into its body through the hard skull. The earth trembled violently. The outskirts of Jiangzhou City were smashed into a giant crater dozens of meters deep. Debris soared into the sky. The massive body of the sea-covering bone dragon was embedded deep in the pit. The light in its crimson eyes quickly faded. The Pangu manifestation behind me slowly withdrew the axe. The dark gold divine light gradually dissipated. I stood at the edge of the pit. The lingering glow of the Pangu tattoo on my chest remained. Level 5 Overlord. Sea-covering bone dragon. Dead. The battle ended too quickly, so fast that no one could even react. From the moment I took flight to becoming a 100-meter giant to slay the bone dragon, the whole process took less than 3 minutes. The black mist cleared. Crimson moonlight showered the earth once more. I deactivated the law of heaven and earth. My body returned to its normal size, landing steadily on the bone dragon's massive skull. I used my fingers like a blade to slice open its skull, digging out a core the size of a basketball. A level 5 crystal core emitting a dense black gold glow. Feeling the ocean-like energy within the core, I satisfactorily stored it in my companion space. The 100,000 sea beasts collapsed completely after losing their beast king, retreating back to the ocean like a tide. Jiangzhou City has been saved, Mr. Qin. Thank you, Mr. Qin, for saving the 3 million people of Jiangzhou. Waves of gratitude echoed through the night sky of Jiangzhou. I stood upon the bone dragon's skull, holding that black gold level 5 crystal core in my hand. I didn't bask in the gratitude. I simply looked at Lei Zhan and said calmly, Commander Lei, there's no need for this. If the military hadn't held back the beast tide head-on last night, Jiangzhou might not have lasted long enough for me to act. Lei Zhan was stunned. I continued, I didn't win this battle alone. The soldiers who fell on the front lines also saved the city. Lei Zhan's eyes reddened slightly. Many officers behind him bowed their heads. I stored the crystal core in my companion space. Now, evacuate the survivors as quickly as possible. Repair the defensive lines. The retreat of the sea beasts is only temporary. The real disaster is yet to come. Rest assured, Mr. Qin, the Order forces will definitely stabilize Jiangzhou. If any mutant beasts of level 5 or higher appear, notify me immediately. I'll handle the high-level beasts. With that, I didn't linger. A flash of black gold light erupted behind me. I turned into a streak of light, flying back to the Blackstone bunker. The massive doors slammed shut. I returned to the surveillance room. I picked up the tea on the table and took a sip. The temperature was just right. Inside the core secret chamber at the lowest level of the Blackstone bunker, I sat cross-legged on a specially made cushion. In my hand, I held the level 5 sea-covering bone dragon core, radiating black gold light. The energy contained in this core was hundreds of times greater than the S-rank blood python core. Even the military's strongest esper, if they dared swallow it, would be blown apart instantly. But I am different. Without hesitation, I pressed the core against my chest, violently circulating the primordial power within my body. Boom! Violent, freezing black energy surged like a bursting dam, instantly flooding every limb and vein. Black frost crystallized on the surface of my skin. My bones creaked under the unbearable pressure. Trying to backlash against me? A dead lizard thinks it's worthy? I let out a cold snort. The Pangu manifestation on my chest suddenly opened its eyes. An unrivaled, tyrannical power of creation instantly suppressed and crushed the black energy. Then, it converted it into the purest primordial power, violently nourishing my physical body. At the same time, the 9 dragons pulling the coffin totem on my back began to burn. 9 black dragons seemed to swim slowly beneath my skin. Upon that ancient black coffin, the first crimson chain trembled violently. Snap! A faint cracking sound echoed in the depths of my soul. Then, the first crimson chain broke. An indescribable black gold energy poured out from the black coffin. An endless void of darkness seemed to appear before my eyes. In the deepest part of the darkness, the ancient black coffin slowly opened a crack. An obscure message flooded my mind. First lock of the 9 dragons coffin. Unlocked. Ability, Coffin Devouring. From this moment on, I can actively devour mutant beast cores, residual energy from beast corpses, and parts of the origin from suppressed totems. This energy will be refined by the black coffin to nourish my physical body, my companion space, and the 4 forbidden totems. In other words, as long as there is enough prey, the more I fight, the stronger I become. As the sea-covering bone dragon core was fully refined, my physical realm naturally ascended, breaking through to the peak of level 5. My companion space expanded once more. At the edge of the once boundless space, an ink-black region suddenly appeared. It looked like a projection of the black coffin, silent, deathly still, and unfathomably deep. I had a vague premonition that, as the remaining chains of the 9 dragons coffin unlock, this dark region will become something far more terrifying than the companion space. I slowly opened my eyes. My bones erupted with thunderous cracks. Coffin devouring. Not bad. From now on, all mutant beasts are nothing but my nourishment. The next morning, the underground training ground of the Blackstone base. I sat cross-legged on the alloy floor, slowly opening my eyes. After devouring the sea-covering bone dragon core, the blood chi in my body was several times stronger than before. The first chain of the 9 dragons coffin had been unlocked. The power of coffin devouring had fully merged with my body. From now on, ordinary cores provide diminishing returns. To keep growing stronger, I must hunt higher-level mutant beasts, at least level 4 or above. Su Xiaodao walked in. His eyes were full of eagerness. Brother Lie, last night you slew the level 5 bone dragon alone. Sinny and I barely had a chance to help. If this keeps up, the 2 of us will truly become a burden. Jiang Sinny approached from the other side, dressed in a black combat suit, her long hair tied up high. Her cold eyes held a rare fighting spirit. I need real combat experience too. Just piling up levels with cores won't let me master true power. I looked at them, nodded. That's exactly what I wanted to say. Su Xiaodao's Erlang Shen and Neza are both top-tier combat totems. Jiang Sinny's 9 Heavens Shen Nu is even more versatile in offense and defense, purification, and battlefield coordination, a high-order manifestation. Their potential is immense, but in the apocalypse, potential doesn't equal combat power. True powerhouses are forged in mountains of mutant corpses. I stood up. Then let's head out. Su Xiaodao's eyes lit up. Where to? I raised my hand and opened the military shared map of Jiangzhou. The screen was cluttered with red dots, scattered between city ruins and suburban forests. Among them, an industrial park in the southern suburbs of Jiangzhou had the most piercing red light. It was marked by the military as a high-risk zone, suspected to be a level 4 mutant beast nest. I pointed to that area, South Suburb Industrial Park. After the sea beast tide receded last night, a pack of mutant beasts occupied the place. Military reconnaissance drones captured at least 3 level 4 mutant beasts inside, along with a large number of level 2 and 3 beasts. Su Xiao Grin. What a great place. Plenty of monsters, plenty of XP. Jiang Sinny glanced at the map and said calmly, the South Suburb Industrial Park isn't far from the North District military camp. If the beasts there continue to spread, they'll eventually threaten the survivor evacuation route. So this trip kills 2 birds with 1 stone, helping the military clear a hidden threat while we're at it. I dialed Lei Zhan's communication line. The screen lit up quickly. Lei Zhan appeared on the screen, looking noticeably more relaxed than last night, though exhaustion still lingered in his eyes. Mr. Qin, is there anything you need the military to assist with? I got straight to the point. The South Suburb Industrial Park of Jiangzhou. I'm planning to go there and clear it. There's a level 4 mutant nest there. Lei Zhan froze for a moment, then his expression turned to joy. Mr. Qin, that's exactly the area we were about to request support for. The park has numerous chemical warehouses. If they are destroyed by the beasts and toxic gas leaks, it will affect the North District camp. If you're willing to act, the military can immediately provide real-time drone reconnaissance and area lockdown. Deal. Leave the perimeter lockdown to you. Don't interfere inside. I'm taking Xiaodao and Sinny in for some practice. Understood. The military will establish a containment line on the perimeter to prevent the beasts from escaping. Mr. Qin, please be careful. They're the ones who should be careful. 10 minutes later, the side gate of the Blackstone base slowly opened. A modified black heavy-duty off-road vehicle drove out of the underground garage. The body was covered in bulletproof armor, alloy anti-slip treads embedded in the tires, and an automatic machine gun mounted on the roof. Su Xiaodao sat in the passenger seat, rubbing his hands in excitement. Jiang Xini sat in the back, the phantom of the Shentian divine sword shimmering in his hand. I sat in the driver's seat, slammed the accelerator, and the engine let out a beastly roar. The black off-roader tore out of the Blackstone base, racing south along the mountain road. The black mist along the way hadn't fully dissipated. Abandoned vehicles, chewed by mutant beasts, littered both sides of the road. Occasionally, a few low-level mutants would pounce, but before they could even reach the car, the roof-mounted machine gun riddled them with holes. Half an hour later, the South Suburb Industrial Park appeared before us. Once a brightly lit modern park, it had now completely transformed into a monster's den. Factories had collapsed, pipes were twisted, and the air was thick with a pungent chemical stench. Su Xiaodao pushed the door open and jumped out. Brother Lie, how do we take them? I looked deep into the industrial park. There were 3 auras significantly stronger than the others. 2 level 4 mutant armored lizards, and 1 level 4 poison mist spider queen. Besides them, there were hundreds of level 2 and 3 beasts. To the current me, these things were insignificant, but for Su Xiaodao and Jiang Xini, they were the perfect whetstones for real combat. I waved my hand, and the 9 dragons pulling the coffin on my back vibrated slightly. An invisible pressure enveloped the entire industrial park. The movements of the low-level beasts instantly slowed, as if a mountain had been dropped on their backs. But I didn't crush them instantly. Instead, I controlled the pressure just enough to slow the pack, without hindering Su Xiaodao and Jiang Xini's combat. I won't interfere. I looked at the 2 of them. Clear the level 2 and 3 beasts yourselves. As for the level 4s, I'll only be your backup, unless your lives are in danger. Otherwise, I won't help. Su Xiao grinned. Just as I hoped. As the words fell, the true Lord Erlang Totem on his right arm suddenly flared. A phantom of the armored divine general slowly emerged behind him. Heavenly Eye, piercing truth. A golden light flashed between Su Xiaodao's brows. A vertical pupil phantom slowly opened. In an instant, the world around him became crystal clear. The movement trajectories of the 2 mutated armored lizards, the gaps in their scales, the contraction of their muscles, and the weaknesses in their bellies, were all captured vividly by the Heavenly Eye. I found your weakness. He gripped the 3-pointed double-edged blade tightly. He stomped the ground violently. A spiderweb of cracks exploded across the floor. Su Xiaodao shot forward like an arrow leaving a bow, instantly closing in on the first armored lizard's flank. He raised the 3-pointed blade high. Golden light erupted from the blade. Divine armor breaker. The blade descended. A piercing clash of metal exploded. Su Xiaodao's expression shifted. Though the strike hit the gap in the lizard's back armor precisely, it didn't break through the defense as he had expected. The lizard's scales were thicker than he imagined. The blade only penetrated half an inch, before being jammed tight by the hard bone armor. Damn it! The first armored lizard spun around violently. Its thick tail swept across with a whistling wind. Su Xiaodao didn't have time to pull out the blade. He had to let go and retreat. Boom! The massive tail grazed his chest. Even though it was just a glancing blow, the impact sent him flying backward. He slammed hard into an abandoned oil tanker. The tanker buckled with a loud crash. Su Xiao Geruan. A trace of blood leaked from the corner of his mouth. This thing is actually pretty tough. I stood in the distance, not intervening. Jiang Xini instinctively looked at me. Qin Lie, I said calmly, he won't die. Let him fight it himself. Su Xiaodao jumped down from the dented tanker. He wiped the blood from his mouth. The excitement in his eyes only grew stronger. Fine, this is a real fight. The armored lizard let out a low growl. Its limbs surged with power. Its massive body charged like an armored vehicle. The other armored lizard flanked him from the side, attempting to cut off his escape. 2 level 4 beasts attacked from all sides. Su Xiaodao stood his ground, no longer charging recklessly. The golden light of the Heavenly Eye grew brighter. The world seemed to slow down in his eyes. Every step the lizard took, every shift of its scales, every tension of its muscles, was captured vividly by the Heavenly Eye. The first armored lizard charged before him. His massive maw opened wide. A foul wind blasted his face. Su Xiaodao leaned back sharply, narrowly dodging the snap of its jaws. At the same time, he stepped firmly with his right foot, sliding under the lizard's jaw into the shadow of its belly. Heavenly Eye locked on, the third soft scale of the abdomen, right where the heart was located. Divine Demon Slayer. Su Xiaodao let out a thunderous roar. The Erlang Shen avatar behind him swung its blade in sync. The 3-pointed blade thrust upward. Squelch. The blade finally pierced the soft armor, driving deep into the lizard's belly. The armored lizard let out a piercing shriek. This massive body writhed frantically. Veins bulged in Su Xiaodao's arms. He gripped the hilt and ripped it upward with raw force. Open up. Raya. A massive wound was torn open in the first lizard's belly. His huge body crashed to the ground. But before Su Xiaodao could catch his breath, the second armored lizard had already charged from behind. It didn't attack Su Xiaodao directly. Instead, it pivoted, slamming violently into a half-collapsed chemical tank. Jiang Xini's expression changed. It wants to blow up the tank. Once the tank explodes, toxic gas will instantly spread across the entire industrial park. Su Xiaodao looked up sharply. The golden light of the heavenly eye surged. Trying to run? You're not going anywhere. He gripped the three-pointed blade with both hands and slammed it hard into the ground. The Erlang Shin avatar behind him suddenly solidified. A golden heavenly eye also opened on the avatar's brow. Two beams of golden light converged in mid-air, instantly locking down the second armored lizard. Heavenly eye, Soul Lock. The second armored lizard's massive body suddenly felt as if it were nailed in place by invisible chains. It struggled frantically, for claws tore deep furrows into the ground. Yet it couldn't break free from that golden lock. Su Xiaodao's face turned pale instantly. This move was draining him immensely, but his eyes held a terrifying excitement. He slowly raised his head and grinned. This strike will send you to your grave. Boom! High above the sky, the black mist was ripped apart by a golden blade. A colossal phantom of the three-point double-edged blade slowly emerged from the clouds. The blade spanned dozens of meters, shimmering with golden light, its edge like a divine punishment. The air across the entire industrial park seemed to freeze. Su Xiaodao pulled his blade from the ground and slashed violently at the armored lizard.
Divine manifestation, heavenly punishment.
The next second, the giant blade phantom crashed down from the sky. Boom! The golden phantom descended, slamming directly into the armored lizard's skull. The heavy black armor shattered instantly. The massive beast's body was crushed deep into the earth. A crack dozens of meters long exploded across the ground. Debris soared into the air as dust billowed. As the golden light faded, the level 4 armored lizard lay slumped in the pit, motionless. Su Xiaodao dropped to one knee, gasping for air. The third eye on his forehead slowly closed. The Erlang Shin totem on his right arm dimmed, but he couldn't hide the grin on his face. Brother Lie, was that move badass or what? I glanced at the gash splitting the factory in half. Not bad, just a bit too draining. Su Xiaojuke. As long as it looks cool, that's all that matters. Sigh. After recovering for a while, he dug out 2 level 4 crystals from the lizard's heads. The moment he touched the crystals, the Erlang Shin totem on his arm grew warm. The phantom third eye on his forehead flickered. Clearly, after slaying 2 level 4 armored lizards, his totem had been fully activated by the battle. His bottleneck was beginning to loosen, but he didn't rush to absorb them. He had just used the third eye and divine punishment. His blood and energy were nearly depleted. Forcing the absorption of level 4 crystals now wouldn't be a breakthrough, it would be suicide. Su Xiaodao stuffed the crystals into his bag and grinned. Brother Lie, I'll absorb them when we get back. I nodded. Just then, a piercing shriek echoed from the depths of the park. A half-collapsed factory exploded. Dark green poisonous mist surged out like a tide. A poison mist spider queen the size of a truck slowly crawled out from the ruins. Its 8 legs were like sharp spears, its abdomen constantly spewing corrosive mist. Steel pipes sizzled and corroded wherever it passed. Level 4 beast, the poison mist spider queen. Just as Su Xiaodao stepped forward, I raised my hand to stop him. This one is for Xini. Su Xiaopao said. Jiang Xini already gripped the Shen divine sword and slowly stepped forward. Her 9 heavens Shen Nu totem naturally countered poison, evil energy, and pollution-type beasts. The poison mist spider queen was the perfect opponent for her breakthrough. Jiang Xini's voice was cold. Leave it to me. The spider queen's 8 crimson eyes locked onto her. The next second, the spider queen's abdomen swelled violently. Boom! A massive wave of dark green mist erupted, sweeping toward Jiang Xini like a tide. Jiang Xini didn't retreat. 6 wings slowly unfurled from her back. A pure white light radiated from her body. Shen Nu Pure Domain, Shen Nu Grace Domain, Shen Nu Pure Domain. A semi-transparent white domain expanded outward with her at the center. The moment the poison mist hit the domain, it immediately began to sizzle. The dark green mist was purified into white smoke. But the spider queen could do more than spray poison. Its 8 legs slammed into the ground. The next second, dozens of venom-coated webs shot out from the ruins, encircling Jiang Xini from all directions. Jiang Xini slashed through the webs in front of her, but more shot in from the sides and rear. Slash! A web grazed her forearm, instantly corroding a tear in her combat suit. Her skin turned a faint bluish-black. Su Xiaodao's expression shifted. Sinny. Jiang Sinny didn't look back. She pressed her left hand against the wound. The Nine Heavens' mysterious maiden totem glowed with a soft white light. The toxins were swiftly forced out of her body. I'm fine. She looked up at the poison mist spider queen. Her gaze grew even colder. It's not just spraying poison. It's using its webs to set a trap. I stood in the distance, nodding slightly.
Jeanne Xignies combat talent.
Was even better than I imagined. The poison mist spider queen screeched again. Countless webs in the ruins glowed with an eerie dark green light. In a matter of moments, it had turned the entire factory ruin into a poisonous web. One wrong step from Jiang Sinny, and she would be ensnared by the toxic threads. Jiang Sinny narrowed her eyes. The avatar of the Nine Heavens' mysterious maiden slowly emerged behind her. In this moment, she didn't rush to strike. Instead, she compressed the pure domain to a 3-meter radius. The domain shrank, but the purification intensity skyrocketed. She took a step forward. The toxic threads beneath her feet just began to glow, before being instantly incinerated by the pure domain. Second step, third step. With every step she took, a pure white circle was cleansed into the poisonous web. Moonlight steps. Jiang Sinny's figure suddenly became ethereal, like a sliver of moonlight gliding through the toxic web. The Spider Queen's 8 eyes spun frantically, yet it could never pinpoint her true location. The next second, the Spider Queen leaped violently into the air, spitting out a concentrated, near-liquid poison sphere. As the poison sphere descended, the air hissed violently from the corrosion. Jiang Sinny's eyes flashed. The Shentian divine sword erupted in a blinding white light. Mystic light purge. A single strike. The pure white sword light sliced the poison sphere in half. Poison rained down on either side of her, corroding 2 deep craters into the ground, while Jiang Sinny had already pierced through the toxic rain, appearing directly beneath the poison mist spider queen. She gripped the sword with both hands. The 6 wings on her back folded simultaneously. All the purification light was compressed onto the blade's edge. Between heaven and earth, it seemed only that single white sword light remained. 9 heavens world cleansing. The sword light soared toward the sky. Squelch. The massive body of the Spider Queen was pierced by the white light. It let out a piercing shriek. Its 8 legs twitched violently, but the purifying power within the light spread through the wound, instantly incinerating its internal poison sacs. The poison mist Spider Queen crashed heavily to the ground. Before the dark green poison mist could spread, it was completely suppressed by the maiden's pure domain. Level 4 poison mist Spider Queen, slain. A dark green crystal core rolled out from the queen's skull. Jiang Sinny leaned down to pick it up. A flash of white light appeared in her palm. The poison on the core's surface was completely purified. The moment the core touched her hand, the avatar of the 9 heavens' mysterious maiden behind her trembled slightly. Within that dark green crystal core, the contained poison energy seemed instinctively rejected by the maiden's totem, or perhaps firmly suppressed by the power of purification.
Jeanne Xignies aura fluctuated visibly.
But she didn't absorb it immediately. The energy in a level 4 core was too volatile, especially one from the poison mist spider queen, with massive amounts of lingering pollution inside. Absorbing it rashly could lead to backlash and injury at best, or the corruption of her totem at worst. She put the core away and looked up at me. I nodded. Keep it for now. Once we return, I'll help you filter out the pollution inside. Jiang Sinny nodded softly. Su Xiaodao watched, completely dumbfounded. Holy cow, Sinny! That last strike of yours was even slicker than mine. Jiang Sinny sheathed the Shentian divine sword and said indifferently, everything has its use. Su Xiaodao immediately grinned. You bet it does. I stepped forward, glancing at the two of them. Do you know where you both fell short just now? Su Xiaodao scratched his head. I was too reckless. The armored lizard's defense is strong. You went all out on the first strike without testing it, which is why your blade got stuck. If that tail swipe had landed squarely, you'd have broken at least 3 ribs. Remember that. I then looked at Jiang Sinny. You rely too much on the pure domain. You can purify the poison mist, but the webs and terrain traps aren't entirely poison-based. When facing pollution-type beasts in the future, don't just focus on the poison itself. Pay attention to how they set up the battlefield. Understood. Collect all the cores. Low-level cores can be used to stabilize your realm, but for level 3 and above, especially level 4 cores, do not absorb them recklessly on the battlefield. Why? I felt like my Erlang Shin totem was about to ignite. That was just totem resonance. It means your bottleneck is loosening. But cores contain more than just energy. They hold the residual berserk will and polluted aura of the beast. Low-level cores are fine. But if high-level cores aren't purified, absorbing them recklessly could cause totem backlash at best, or fate pollution at worst. Jiang Sinny looked down at the poison mist spider queen core in her hand. Although she had purified the surface, a faint, ink-colored mist still flowed within. She quickly understood my meaning. So it needs to be filtered first. I nodded. Once we're back, I'll use the burial coffin to refine them for you. I'll strip away the polluted aura and berserk will, leaving only the purest totem energy. Then your breakthrough will be stable. Soon. Every beast core in the South Suburb Industrial Park was collected. Hundreds of low-level cores. Over 20 level 3 cores, and 3 level 4 cores. The Spider Queen's level 4 core went to Jiang Xini, while the 2 armored lizard cores went to Su Xiaodao. Just then, Lei Zhan's video call came through, looking at the drone footage of the industrial park. He visibly breathed a sigh of relief. Mr. Qin, the beast nest in the South Suburb Industrial Park has been confirmed cleared. The chemical pollution risk to the North Camp is gone. Thank you and your companions for stepping in. I nodded. By the way, I need to take them on real combat missions to level up. Lei Zhan paused, then gave a bitter smile. You're joking, Mr. Qin. For the military, this was a high-risk nest. I glanced at Su Xiaodao and Jiang Xini. They had just survived a brutal fight. Their auras were significantly denser than before we left. This trip was quite effective. I told Lei Zhan, in the future, for nests with level 4 beasts or higher, just send us the coordinates. As long as it doesn't interfere with our plans, we will handle them. Understood. I will report your request to the Dragon Commander. After the call ended, I looked at the black mist gradually dissipating in the distance. The South Suburb Industrial Park was just the beginning. There are countless beast nests around Jiangzhou. For ordinary survivors, they are death zones. But for us, they are the ultimate training grounds. But now isn't the time for more hunting. Su Xiaodao and Jiang Xini had just fought a fierce battle. Their bottlenecks were already loosening. Now, it's time to turn those cores into their own true power. Back at the Blackstone base, I raised my right hand. The 9 dragons pulling the coffin on my back glowed with heat. The burial coffin's devour began to operate silently. A phantom black coffin flashed behind me. Wisps of pitch-black mist were drawn out from the 3 level 4 cores. That was the residual polluted aura and berserk will within the cores. If an ordinary awakened absorbed them directly, they would have to endure it with sheer willpower. Succeed and their strength grows. Fail and the totem lashes back. But before the 9 dragons pulling the coffin, this pollution is the perfect nourishment. The black coffin trembled slightly, swallowing all impurities. The remaining 3 cores glowed with a pure light. I handed the 2 armored lizard cores to Su Xiaodao, and the Spider Queen core to Jiang Xini. Su Xiaodao took the cores, with a wide grin. Thanks, Brother Lie. Thank you. The next second, both began absorbing the core energy. Su Xiaodao erupted first. The Erlang Shin totem on his right arm seemed to come alive. A thin crack opened in the center of his forehead, as the phantom of the divine eye, radiating destructive golden light, slowly opened. Behind him, the armored, blade-wielding avatar of Erlang Shin became increasingly solid. On the other side, Jiang Xini's transformation was even more stunning. The Spider Queen core in her palm was slowly purified and absorbed by the 9 Heavens Mystic Lady Totem. The originally dark green energy turned into streaks of pure white mystical light upon entering her body. The totem on her back manifested as 6 snowy energy wings unfolding behind her, while a Shintian divine sword, radiating a piercing chill, condensed in her hand. Half an hour later, both of their auras surged simultaneously. Su Xiaodao was the first to break through. Level 4 early stage, level 4 mid stage, level 4 late stage, finally peaking at level 4.
Jiang Xini's aura steadily climbed.
The 9 Heavens mysterious maiden avatar grew more solid, finally peaking at level 4 as well. Su Xiaodao slammed his fist into the ground in excitement. Boom! He smashed a shallow crater into the alloy floor. Holy shit! So this is the peak of level 4. I feel terrifyingly strong right now. Jiang Xini retracted her wings and opened her eyes. She wasn't as loud as Su Xiaodao, but a flash of joy flickered in her eyes. The blessing domain of the 9 Heavens mysterious maiden. Its range has expanded 73 times. If we encounter massive poisonous fog again, miasma, or spirit-polluting beasts, I can maintain a safe zone. I nodded in satisfaction. Just then, Lei Zhan's video call popped up on the screen. Lei Zhan looked at the 3 of us, with unmistakable shock in his eyes. Mr. Qin, the high-risk nest in the South Suburb Industrial Park has been confirmed cleared. Pressure on the North District camp has dropped significantly. Commander Long asked me to convey his gratitude. Good. The call ended. Su Xiaodao gave a long, lazy stretch. Brother Lie, are we going monster hunting again tomorrow? I looked at the national monster alerts flashing on the screen, and said slowly, no need to rush around Jiangzhou for now. It's time to check out the other war zones.